Sports, the sports authority.
And now, at last,
it's time for the Redhawks Coaches Show on the SEMO ESPN Radio Sports Network.
I have more to tell you.
The Southeast Coaches Show airs every Tuesday at noon on ESPN 92.9 FM and 12:20 a.m. Live from Wings Etc. in with head coach Tom Matukewicz.
Now, ladies and gentlemen,
let's go live to Wings Etc.
Let's go!
Right here on SEMO ESPN.
Welcome in. We've got a beautiful fall day outside, and it is nice inside. Wings, etc. in Cape Girardeau. We hope that maybe you could join us here for lunch this afternoon. You got the full lunch hour. If you haven't made lunch plans, maybe swing by and join us. They've got their award-winning jumbo wings. They were just named Best Wings in Southeast Missouri by the People's Choice Awards for the Southeast Missourian. So if you got the best wings in this part of the state right here, if you are in the market for something other than the wings, they have a full diversified menu. You want a burger? They can help you out there. Wraps, subs, quesadillas, entree salads. You can try their smoked ribs. They've got their appetizer lineup. If you like their ultimate nachos, they can help you out there. The deep fried pickle spears, a popular item on the menu. And you'll notice all of the sports programming in high def on all the flat screens as soon as you walk in. You want to watch some playoff baseball tonight? You can do that. College football, the NFL Sunday Ticket. The St. Louis Blues will open their season tomorrow night in Chicago, so you can watch Blues hockey right here at Wings, etc. So we hope you will join us. We'll be here not only this week, but we'll also be back in the Cape Girardeau Wings location next week as well. Redhawks have a bye week. Coach Tom Matukewicz is here, so that means a bye week, kickback. Maybe you take a couple days off, take the family, maybe over Lake of the Ozarks. Boy, these off weeks are nice, right?
Right. Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to Tahiti anytime soon, but we do just the pressure of not having a game this week is, I think is good for the kids just to get away from football a little bit. We've been grinding since August 1st, and I think it some buys weeks are early or late, or this one, man, it's right when we need it because we're pretty banged up. If we were going to play this Saturday, Terrence may not be able to play, and we'd probably be out 4 starters. So we're banged up pretty good, but hopefully we'll get everybody back and ready to go.
You said the name Terrence, and that is Terrence Hill. Redhawks senior linebacker is going to join us coming up. He had a big game against Eastern Kentucky with 9 tackles. He's over 100 career tackles out of Kansas City. So we'll talk with Terrence Hill coming up.
He's a big Royals guy. He's KC proud now.
Yeah.
So we'll barbecue, Royals, you name it. This guy carries the flag.
We'll talk about it. Kansas City Royals, the defending World Series champs. His Kansas City Chiefs are just coming off of a bye week, and they'll be back in action this week. He was at Raytown High School. They've gotten off to a slow start. I think they're 2-4, but they play their arch rivals Raytown South this week. So I'll ask him about that rivalry. Rivalry football. Do you like rivalry games? What's your thought on rivalry football?
Big fan. I think that's what makes our sport unique. And, a lot of other sports play them twice or 3 times. And football is just a one-shot deal. And so a lot of build-up for them. The fans really get behind it. So I'm a big fan of rivals.
What do you think makes a good rivalry in football? Is it geographic location? Is it competitiveness? Is it history with a program? Like right now, I don't know who Southeast rival is in football. With your tie to SIU, maybe Southern Illinois is a pretty good rival. The location is there. Murray State has been a big rival in basketball. Jacksonville State has been a big rival in baseball. I think maybe it kind of varies from sport to sport a little bit.
Yeah, I think it probably does. Certainly for us, I think SIU, from a location standpoint, the last 3 games have been close, and so the games have been good, and we recruit against each other and all those things, so that definitely heightens it up. But Murray's also the same way because of our location. We're pretty close, and the basketball rival and all that. But we haven't been that we need to be better on football just so we can win more of those games.
You knocked off Eastern Illinois. Maybe that's the beginning of a good rivalry.
Yeah, for sure. They're not very far away too, and that was a great game. And actually the previous year went down to 2-minute drill too. So we've been in a lot of close games since I've been here.
Eastern Kentucky was first of all, it's a 6+ hour bus ride, and normally when you go on road trips, oftentimes you will stop at a stadium.
Yeah.
You have stopped at Mizzou and worked out there. You've stopped at Papa John's Stadium in Louisville and worked out on the Louisville Cardinals field. You didn't stop and work out this particular time, but what you did was a nice leisurely picnic. We stopped at a nice rest area location. You had some box lunches. Everybody sat on picnic tables, little camaraderie, and so a different type of road trip this time.
Yeah, it was that was neat. It was a beautiful weather, and it's just like today, man. Just how nice is it to be just out there, and everybody had a little Subway sandwich. So the trip, I thought, went well. Got up morning, went out there, and it's a tough trip. You lose an hour also because of the East time zone, and then you have to sit around a hotel forever because you don't play till 6. But I told Brady, make sure we return a favor next year when we play Eastern Kentucky is make sure that thing's at 6 o'clock. So we can return that favor. So hopefully he gets that done too.
And some people say, now wait a minute. What do you mean return the favor? Well, the favor is the bus is pulled back into campus at 3:30 in the morning. That's a favor you're talking about.
Yeah, and if we had to go back into game week, I mean that's almost criminal. You would have to adjust the practices and everything. We'd have had to really do something different because we would need to get rested before we can start working on the next prep.
And I thought it was kind of poetic justice. You go to Eastern Kentucky. The last time you went there, a catastrophic injury to one of your top guys, Roper Garrett. He broke his leg. He was out for the rest of the season. He returns there, and at one point, actually limped out of the football game. He had to get taped up. I know he had some sort of a leg deal, but not only did he come back in the game, but he's named co-defensive player of the week, 12 tackles, had his second interception of the season. That was great for Roper Garrett. I'm sure he wasn't thinking about it. We asked him about it when we had him on the show about, hey, is it going to be going through your mind going back to Richmond, Kentucky, where you suffered your injury? And he said, nah, I'm not even going to think about it. But I thought it was great for Roper to go back to that place that was, a really bad memory for him and had a really, superior performance for you.
Yeah, it was awesome. And, they took it, and hats off to our medical people, Ben Fox and Doc Bowen, our medical doctor that was on the sideline. He actually left the game and went into the locker room with a knee injury, and it wasn't bad enough that I had to stop playing, but they had to brace him and tape him so he felt comfortable with continuing to play, and went on to just kill it. I mean, the depth that he played, like you said, all the tackles, the tip ball, the TFL, the interception, and those guys, Terrence and those other linebackers are staying the same. They're doing just a really nice job for us.
It's interesting as you watch certain sports, certain athletes, there's a different mentality with some guys. Some guys, if they get a little dinged up, that may be it. They're might scare them a little bit. Other guys, you literally are going to have to cut off an appendage to keep them out. A Ronnie Lott type, we'll just cut the pinky off. Yeah. I need to play type thing.
Yeah, it's just like vehicles. You got an old, rusted out F-150. It runs without a tire, but you get a Porsche there and the spark plug get a little loose and won't even start. So it's kind of the same with athletes. The higher end in special an athlete is, the more fragile he kind of gets because he's just built for speed and all those things. And then you get other players that, they just seem to always stay healthy and never miss time.
Getting off to quick starts has been something that you have really done the last several games. Your previous 2 games, you go down and score a touchdown on the opening possession. Your first possession at Eastern Kentucky, you take the football down the field, 11 plays, 45 yards. Look like you're going to score a touchdown on the drive. The ball, pops out there in the end zone. You end up with a 50-yard field goal from Ryan McCrum. So the quick starts are there for you. You look at a ball in the hands of one of your guys in the end zone, could have been a touchdown. Yeah. You get a 42-yard pass play down to the 6-yard line, fumble it at the EKU 6. That potentially could have been a touchdown. you probably step back from that and say, man, that could have been a 14-point situation for you.
There's no doubt. I mean, that basically was the game. Last year we had 190 yards of total offense against that defense. This year we had 400 yards of offense. You should be in the mid to upper 20s as far as scoring. But we either turned it over, had to kick field goals, or in the penalties, we had 3 holding penalties that really hurt us also, that got us behind the chains. And bottom line is we got to score more touchdowns. Like, that's the bottom line. Of course, Lena told me that and has been telling me that daily, every night, every morning. But we all know that now. How do we do that? And it comes down to extending drives on third down. And once you get into the red zone, you can't have negative yardage plays. If you're on the 10-yard line, you get to 2nd and 10, that's tough. So you can't have negative yardage plays, and we got trying to take care of that. But I feel good because I feel like our offense, Jesse again has, performed well. He's thrown the ball. He's made good decisions with the football. Running game's got to pick up a little bit. And it's that execution thing. We're like literally one block away from popping several. And we had some nice runs, but we just aren't quite there yet. And that's what this bye week, we don't need to change. It's not broken, but we need to sharpen it and clean it up. And, because I think that's where the points are going to come from.
Obviously, you'd like your penalties to be 2 or 3 in a game. That'd be great.
Yeah.
It was 10 in this game, but I think the first 7 were on the offense. Those are the things that you're talking about that can slow your offense down. A holding penalty or a 10-yard penalty, now you're 1st and 20. There aren't a lot of teams converting 1st and 20. Now, every once in a while you can, but consistently when the penalties are on the offense, then that's moving you backwards, and that's not where you want to be.
Exactly. So that's the stuff we're working on all week long to try and get fixed, and feel confident that we'll be able to get it fixed. And the disappointing is you felt like you could have just played better. Maybe they beat us anyway, because I do think it's a good team, and I think that quarterback is really good. But we didn't give ourselves a chance. We had 5 fumbles. We only lost 2 of them, but it was pretty disgusting, our ball security with the football. So we got to clean that up.
Well, the one positive in terms of turnover margin was that you forced a couple of turnovers in the game. Yeah, and that was one of the things you highlighted before the game. Hey, guys, let's force some turnovers, and you did it twice.
Yeah, and one was in the red zone, which is, that is huge. And so defensively, we stress it. They did a good job, got 2 of them. We only got 3 points out of it. So that's disappointing. Goes back to that red zone thing. But defensively, we've been on pace. We got to figure out how to make plays on balls in the passing game. When we want to stop the run, we can, and play good defense. We can sack the guy when we want to, but we're not putting the kind of pressure on the quarterback that we need to in true passing situations. And then, their wideouts made a lot of plays right at reception point. As coaches, we got to try and find a way to get our players in better position. And then our players got to make those plays like their players did. I think that wide receiving core is pretty good. They've been able to throw it on a lot of people. So one of the interesting things, just the quarterbacks we have played, when you go down through that list, like we've played some really good quarterbacks. Yep. So we're definitely been preparing for that. And that, no different than Eastern Illinois being able to get off the field on third down is critical. We weren't able to do that. There's several long drives that we had, great third down situation and red zone. We gave up 2 touchdowns on 3rd and long in the red zone. Those both should be field goals. And so, lots there to work on but also lots to still feel good about.
Yeah. And I think the one drive that really helped them, and it's one of those, confidence building drives. They go 16 plays, 83 yards, took 5.5 minutes off the clock. And then they throw the football to their 6'6" wideout Devin Borders, who caught 3 touchdowns in the game. But that really, I think, energized them. If that drive ends up in a field goal attempt, maybe the crowd's not in the game, maybe they're not as excited. But that drive, I thought, really energized their sideline.
No, I agree with you. I think that was, and offensively, we've been moving it, and defensively, been playing well. And then they put that drive together, and I agree. I think that kind of gave that sideline the confidence because they hadn't been playing well, as a unit. And they just seemed to put it all together in that drive. And I agree. It gave them a lot of confidence on the sideline.
Their quarterback, the only guy in school history who's had 2 400-yard passing games. So, I mean, he's really good. He came in, I think, 5th all-time in passing yardage. Last year, he had the 2nd most prolific passing season ever for a quarterback at Eastern Kentucky. So, I mean, he's really good. He dropped down as a transfer from Cincinnati. Benny Coney, the one thing that Coney did, he played with a clean pocket for a lot of the game. As his offensive line protected him, and I know that was a struggle for you to put a lot of pressure on him. I mean, he got comfortable a lot in that game.
Absolutely did. Hats off to those guys because they did a great job. That was the thing I felt like we just seemed a little slow. We seemed tired because normally when, those guys are coming off the edge, we've been able to get some pressure, and we couldn't all night long. And so I think, again, going in this bye week, hopefully get our legs back and we get that quicker step where we can get around the corner and get more pressure on the quarterbacks.
Just judging by the fact that you've played 3 OVC teams, but you've seen a lot of the teams on film because you're doing prep work. So you're watching everybody. So you've seen a lot of, other than big tight ends who might go 6'4", 6'5", that's a different animal than a 6 feet 6 inch wideout. He caught 3 touchdown passes. They would throw it up for him in the end zone, and that's what anyone would do if you have a wideout that big. Is he maybe as tough an individual matchup as there is in the entire conference?
Yeah, I think the tandem. If you don't have a good quarterback, it wouldn't matter. But with that tandem right there, he's just hard to defend because a lot of the 6'6" guys, sometimes you could be physical on defense and they won't want to match you there, but he did. He used his body well. He got called for 1 pass interference. Maybe could have got called for a couple more. He plays really physical at reception point. He'll body you out of there, and that's a big target to hit. And just no different when I reach out to grab a ball, and then the opponent or defender, his arms go way out here. And so you just, at reception point, he's going to win more than he loses.
And that again comes down to the quarterback. It doesn't matter how long his arms are if the pass isn't there. And, man, Coney was on the money most of the night.
Yeah, and came back to he probably felt comfortable and playing that system kind of, got going last week in it, and we weren't able to put the kind of pressure, so he just felt good.
And you score the first 6 points of the game, a 50-yard field goal from Ryan McCrum, and then another 30-yard field goal, so you're up 6-0. Now let's talk about McCrum because he wins the Specialist of the Week award in the OVC. That's the 6th 50-yard field goal in his career, 50 or longer. Boy, what a luxury that is where you don't even hesitate. What? It's going to be a 50-yard field goal? Good. Let's run our guy out there.
Obviously – Ryan's done a great job for us, and you run him out of there because our offense didn't get the job done. So he's kind of coming out to erase a mistake by someone else. But there's a lot of pressure because, everybody doesn't even know who you are until you get out there and you actually miss it. But he's had a good week. He's had a good mindset, and he's missed some. He's able to bounce back, and just excited for the week that he had, and proud of where he come because, he missed a field goal in the fourth quarter against EIU to put us up 2. And I know that he was upset about that. For him to just bounce back tells you what kind of kid he is, and he comes from unbelievable parents. Just proud of Ryan.
All right. We're not you've got plenty of season left, but he's been here for a long time, 3 seasons. He's been an All-American, all the 50-yard field goals. Who you bringing along in that field goal kicking game? Who might be is the future field goal kicker for the Redhawks on the roster now, or maybe somebody?
Be. Yeah, for sure. We got a kid who's a true freshman, Kendrick Tiller, who's done a nice job. We got a kid that's on campus that'll join us in January, and then we'll also probably bring in a mid-year junior college kid to just have the competition that you need. It's not that you don't feel good about Kendrick. It's just the fact that you need some some pressure there, some those guys competing for that job. So it'll be interesting, that transition, both kicker and punter. We signed 2 freshmen last year that we really feel good about, but they need to continue to improve.
At the very end of the first half of the SIU game, the Salukis went in and scored a touchdown, grabbed the momentum going into the locker room, and Eastern Kentucky did the same thing. They went on an 8-play, 91-yard drive. They started at their own 9-yard line with 1 minute and 32 seconds left on the clock. That was an impressive drive by Eastern Kentucky, and what that did, it allowed them to really take that momentum with them into the locker room. You hold them to a field goal attempt, you're getting the opening possession of the second half. They really flipped the momentum, I thought.
Yep, they did. They did a nice job. I mean, that was just a poor drive by our defense. You have them down there pinned with that kind of time. You should be able to stop them. And really, we got them into some good third downs. The play they scored on was, I think, 3rd and 10.
Yeah. And
so normally you're able to get off the field, but, a great route and a great throw beat good coverage.
And again, another drop-down transfer. Their quarterback, Benny Coney from Cincinnati, the guy that caught the touchdown, Cameron Fogle, transferred in from the University of Kentucky. That's kind of been their philosophy. They have 15 drop-down FBS transfers on that roster.
Yeah, so, just like you've said before, they got some good players, and that's their model, and they've been able to get those guys. And Coney's, he's as good as there is in the conference. I think this is just a really good league. I mean, I don't know, because I think ours is pretty good. But when you throw in Jacksonville State, you throw in Murray's, and I mean, man, there are some good quarterbacks in this conference.
Yeah, K.D. Humphreys is a multi-time All-American at Murray State. Benny Coney, he's putting together an all-conference season. And then, Eli Jenkins for Jacksonville State. The difference with Jenkins is he's also rushed for 500 yards and he's thrown for 1,500 yards. He's got a dimension a lot of guys don't have. Now, Coney was, I think, the 12th ranked dual threat quarterback coming out of high school. That's not really part of his game anymore, though.
No. And I think it's not a part of that offense, but I think he could if they needed him to. But they don't, they got some good wideouts, and they kind of got it zoned in right now.
I'm not sure in watching them that maybe they've got the running back talent they've had in the past.
Yeah. I don't think for sure they don't. I think last year's a kid still playing for somebody, right? The kid that they had last year.
They had really good running back last year
in the NFL camp, and they've been good. I mean, Eastern Kentucky's a good program, and I think defensively they're down a little bit. And that was our opportunity. We needed to be in the high 20s and wasn't able to get those points.
So then in the second half, once again, they go to Devin Borders. It's a 56-yard pass from Benny Coney. And after they were able to defense you and force you to punt after your opening possession, then they get the touchdown. Then they're up 21-6. What's a mindset then? What are you thinking after that 56-yard touchdown?
It's just a lot of frustration because the same things were happening. But, you can't worry. You just keep coaching. You keep playing. The sideline, stayed into the game, and we kept fighting and trying to stay in it. But it got hard because you're just frustrated with how it was, the game was unfolding.
And then their field goal kicker, Lucas Williams, who's a senior, he had never kicked a 49-yarder. That's a career long for him, and he kicked it into the wind. Sometimes you just say, hey, man, the guy made a play.
Yeah.
That was a really good kick.
Yeah, it was, and right down the middle. And I think the wind was definitely an issue, first half. The second half, it had died down pretty good, so it wasn't near as much in the second half.
And then you put together a scoring drive. Ryan McCrum kicks a 22-yard field goal. You go 58 yards there. That's the one drive where you're probably thinking, man, we get it in the end zone. All of a sudden, we're putting a little pressure on these guys.
Yeah, try to get it back to 2 scores that you felt comfortable with. And kind of the same thing. We moved the ball, but we kind of shot ourselves in the foot and wasn't able to come away with 7 points.
So the one thing that we do notice as you score your first touchdown with 3:42 to go, Christian Wilkerson, man, that is as pretty a play as you have had. Now, the play to Adrian Davis against Eastern Illinois, that's a really pretty play. But that was a tremendous play, a tremendous pass by Hoskin, right on the money to Wilkerson, who created separation, held on to the football, went into the end zone. That was, even though you lose the football game, that's a little piece of offensive momentum going into the bye week, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were in it wasn't 2 minute, but we treated it like a 2 minute situation because we were down. And so they did a nice job executing, had the time to throw it. Certainly wish you weren't in that situation, but I'm glad that they executed there.
What are you seeing from Christian Wilkerson? Because he has been he's made some plays for you, but again, a freshman.
Yeah.
And typically what I've seen in freshmen in whatever sport you're talking about, man, you can see the talent with some of these guys. They look really good here, and then other times, hey, you got to remember they're still a freshman.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's hit it on the head. There's plays that you really are excited about. Then there's plays that you just shake your head at because they just don't know better, and I think that wide receiver core is doing a good job, but, without Paul and there's not just one guy. And so it's kind of hard also to just get settled in and get the kids the reps that they need to keep getting better.
And the one thing someone may say, okay, you're averaging about 19 points per game. What's going on at the quarterback? It seems like that's the one focus people always want to, if you're not scoring 30 points a game, what's going on with the quarterback? Your quarterback's playing well. He almost threw for 300 yards. That was his 5th consecutive game of throwing for 200-plus yards. He's thrown a league low 1 interception this year. I mean, just if you watch Jesse Hoskett play, he's playing well.
Yeah, and he could play better just like all of them, but he's certainly not the issue. It really comes down to why aren't we scoring the touchdowns? And so you go look through that. It's just like what we talked about. It was a lot of the self-inflicted wounds, but we just need to go back to sharpening things up, cleaning things up, make sure we're putting our guys in the right situations. But some guys are starting to emerge, even like Murdoch and Christian Wilkinson and some of those guys, our playmakers are there. They just need to finish those plays, and we can't turn it over the 2 times like we did. And Tremaine McCullough's got to play better. He had one vertically that he should have caught, and then he fumbled it twice. And so he's one of our best players, one of the best players in this league, and our offense need him. They need him to be the player that he is, and I know he's going to bounce back.
Boy, that's the guy for me is Marquette Murdoch, Coach. All of a sudden, man, I mean, he had 3 catches, including a touchdown against Eastern Illinois, 3 more catches. He creates separation. One time he went up and fought for a ball, and he just, after catching the ball, you look at him, the guy's got a lot of confidence, it looks to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's done a good job. He played as a true freshman, and he keeps getting better. He's just a sophomore now, and so he's kind of coming into his own, but he is the tight end you want. He's really solid in the run game, and he's got great hands. He could separate. He's good with the ball. He fumbled one, and so that ball security thing, we got it back or went out of bounds. But, we just need to continue to work on his craft.
Is it one of those deals where maybe the tight end wasn't as much involved in the offense early, but now as you're starting to see some maturity here from Marquette Murdoch, maybe you start game planning a little bit more for him because he could be a tough matchup for defense?
Yeah, exactly. I think just hit it on the head. If you're going to run the ball, the play action has got to be a big part of it. And if you got good tight ends, it's easier to hit those guys in the play action game. And he's kind of opened that up for us a little bit.
And you look at what you did in the rushing game, and Will Young had a 45-yard run. Been a while since you really broke one over 30 yards, and Young, I think, was the last guy to do that. But a 45-yard run from Will Young. So I know the ankle has been, and it's tricky because it's one of those injuries where the way you get it healed is rest.
Right.
But you can't really afford to rest him, so you try to treat him as much as possible. Bye week probably comes at a good time for him.
Yeah, I think so. We're going to set him all week long and get him back feeling good, and I think it's exactly what he needed. But we opened some holes. He was able to break a tackle and get it down there, and we need to continue to get our run game up there. It's not as good as it could be, as good as the players that we have. So we got to continue to work.
In the games where he had the 100 yards back-to-back to start the season, I'm speaking of Will Young, one of the reasons was his ability to shed defenders. Does a weak ankle impugn your ability to shed defenders.
Yeah, and just his style, he's a kind of a one-cut guy. He gets low, and he's able to make that cut, and so cutting off that ankle's hard. And then just to break tackles, you got to be strong, and sometimes a weak ankle will prohibit you there a little bit. But I'm glad he's going to be healthy and hitting this thing this October run. We gotta win so we can make November important. And hopefully we get all these guys that are a little banged up back healthy.
We saw Dante Vandeven come in and play some quarterback, ran a couple of plays. It was in the middle of a drive. I think he had just crossed the 50-yard line. Now, I know he'd been nicked up a little bit. Yeah. What did you see when Dante came in? What was the thought process there? Try to give the defense a different look?
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't necessarily something we weren't seeing from Jesse. We feel like Dante's a good player, and we were trying to get him an opportunity to make some plays. I had wanted to do that for a while. He had rolled his ankle, and so we weren't able to do that. And he was still banged up a little bit.
It looked like he was limping a little when he left the field.
And so he's another one we got to get healthy. But when he came in, didn't execute as well as we'd like. So we got to continue to just detail that out, exactly define his role and what it is we want him to do, and he's got to be healthy.
Now, is he working in practice a little at wide receiver?
Yeah, he's doing a lot. He's even catching some punts. Because the one thing he is he's really hard to tackle. Even at quarterback, he was able to make a lot of plays with the ball in his hand, and he's a good athlete. He's actually approached me about playing some other positions, and I was hesitant because I do think he's a good quarterback, but he wants to play, and I think he feels like Jesse's really good, and so he brought up playing wide out, and so we've been able to give him some of those reps also. But at the end of the day, you're just trying to use your roster to help move chains, to help score points, and so I what that looks like week to week could be different, but I do think we're trying to find a way to get him in the game.
I know another guy that you had talked about, and obviously we think about him because he's a local guy, Dante, but is Al Young. He's gotten on the field just briefly, couple of punt returns. I know you said, hey, our offense is a lot for anyone to take in, especially a freshman who's never run that type of offense. It's a lot to absorb. You decided not to redshirt him, and a lot of times guys will redshirt, especially, making the jump to Division I. We've seen him on the field a little bit. I know you worked him a little bit on defense. How's Al coming along?
He's doing a good job. He's trying. He's learning. We're still not there yet, and so we're just committed to keep trying to get him in positions to learn. And I think at the end of the day, as a coach, you just want the confidence. You want him to make those plays out on the field and not make a mental error or physical error, and so that you trust to put him in the game. And this bye week's good because he's going to get a lot more reps than normal, and so hopefully we can make some progress there.
All right, what's typically take us through a bye week?
Well, we lift 3 days a week because you definitely got to keep that strength going into the end of the year. So we lift 3 days a week. We practice 2. Basically, I'll run the defense, and Coach Williams will run the offense, and everybody else be recruiting. And so we'll have some of our graduate assistants, Terrence will probably be our inside linebacker coach, through some individual stuff with some young guys and stuff, but we'll work on some of the things. We're doing a self-scout now, and so we'll work on the self-scout today or tomorrow's practice, and then the next practice we'll work on some situations in third down and red zone. So you're just trying to polish, but the main thing is get mentally and physically healthy. Emotionally, just take a breath and get away from football a little bit. That way, when all these guys show back up Sunday, they're ready for this next run.
And we won't really get into Tennessee Tech much this week. We'll do it on the next coach's show. How much are you going to, in this week, take a look at Tennessee Tech?
We'll do a head scout. Basically, Coach Weimers and I will take care of the offense and the defense on Friday, get a head start on Sunday, introduce those to the players, which is about a day ahead. And so you get the advantage of working on your opponent one more day than the previous. But we don't make it about Tennessee Tech. We make it about the Redhawks during practice this week.
And I believe I'm correct with this. Let's see. Yes, the quarterback for Tennessee Tech, Michael Birdsong, and we'll talk much more about him next week. But he leads the league in passing yardage. So here's a guy that can really fling the ball.
Yeah, he's a transfer.
He is.
I think from Marshall.
Yeah.
Has he got 1 year or is he a junior?
I believe he is a senior.
Yeah, I think he was just a 1-for-1 guy. So he's doing a really good job for them and been able to extend a lot of plays. He's a giant man. I think he's at least as big as Jesse.
He's 6'5". Yeah.
Is he 6'5"? Yeah. So he's been able to extend a lot of plays, and man, you talk about meaning everything to his team. He's done a nice job.
All right. We'll talk more about Tennessee Tech coming up next week. We're going to take a timeout, and we're going to talk with Terrence Hill. What can you tell us about Terrence Hill? Obviously, he is a tremendous linebacker for you, tremendous student. I know he's on the OVC Commissioner's Honor Roll, so he takes care of it on the field and in the classroom.
Well, he's got big arms, which is nice. So I appreciate his biceps, but he's a great guy. He actually works for a friend of mine, Mark Harris, at Chap Arnold Insurance. Works for him in the summer, and you hit it on the head. This guy is going to be very successful. He's a great human being, but he's got a great work ethic. He's on our leadership council, so that tells you what his teammates think of him. You just can't say much. You can't say anything negative about the guy. He's just exactly what you would want in a Red Hawk football player and a son. So very proud of him. He's got this girlfriend he needs to get locked up soon because his hair is getting a little thin up top. You know what I'm saying? Like you're like a stock. You got to sell when you're high. So he needs to get this thing locked up. But we enjoy Terrence. I know you guys are going to meet the Terrence I know today.
All right. He's a Royals fan. So if we got any Cardinal fans in the house, Terrence Hill is a Royals fan. We'll ask him about that. He's from Kansas City, and he'll join us next. Terrence Hill, senior linebacker for the Redhawks, will join us coming up after the break. It's the Redhawks Coaches Show. We're at Wings, etc. in Cape. This is SEMO ESPN.
See, Wings Etc. has those award-winning jumbo wings. They're popular for both dine-in and carry-out. Now, the word is getting out about Wings Etc.'s appetizer lineup. From the ultimate nachos to the deep-fried pickle spears, frankly, they're irresistible. Friends are sharing time together at Wings Etc. They've got dining rooms filled with HD TVs tuned to the best sports programming, including NFL Sunday Ticket. The people at the next table are talking about Wings Etc.'s daily half-pound lunch special, starting at just $6.49. Plus, Wings Etc. has food and drink specials throughout the week, including 59-cent wings every Monday. Plus, there's the kids menu, and Wings Etc. is family-friendly with video games in the dining room. And the whole community is excited about how Wings Etc. is locally owned and operated, and they're proud to support local athletes, their families, schools, and teams. I guess Wings Etc. is a really big deal around here.
I'm Erik Sean with your Red Hawks Minute, presented by Moreland Pre-Owned Center on Seamers Drive in Cape Girardeau. The SEMO Athletics Department is hosting a special Red Hawks Trivia Night and Auction this Saturday night at the Show Me Center. The cost is $300 for a team of 8. It includes 8 rounds of trivia consisting of 8 questions each, a halftime intermission that features a live auction and celebrity wing eating contest presented by Wings Etc. and complimentary food and beverages. Red Hawk coaches, student athletes, and local personalities will be traveling between tables throughout the evening, serving as ringers. All of the proceeds directly support Southeast Missouri State Athletics. For more information, your team, you can go to gosoutheast.com/trivia or call the Southeast Ticket Office at 573-651-2113. The doors will open Saturday at 5 o'clock. The trivia starts at 6:30.
And now, your ESPN Radio Network local weather forecast.
National Weather Service calling for sunny, warm, a high of 80 today, down to 57 tonight. A chance of storms late tomorrow afternoon with a high of 79. And showers and storms possible on Wednesday night into Thursday morning with a high of only 64 degrees. Friday, a slight chance of rain, better chance later with a high of 65. Saturday looks great, 78 with mostly sunny skies.
You're up to date with the latest weather forecast right here on the ESPN Radio Network.
Well, dude, obviously So you'd be better as the focal point of the show. Would I be better for society? No.
Don't miss Russillo and Cano every weekday at noon on SEMO ESPN.
Redhawks Coaches Show. We are live at Wings, etc. in Cape Girardeau, and mark your calendars. We'll be right back here in the Cape Girardeau location again. As we get you ready for the Redhawks coming off their bye week, they'll be headed to Tennessee Tech University in Cookeville. They have not won at Tech since 2003, so they'll put that in the rearview mirror. If they can go to Tucker Stadium and knock off the Golden Eagles, we want to invite you to join us every Tuesday at Wings, etc. Their full menu featuring their award-winning wings, their freshly made burgers, their wraps, subs, quesadillas, entree salads. If you're coming for lunch, they have daily half-pound lunch specials starting at just $6.49, and they've got food and drink specials throughout the week, including their 59-cent wings on Mondays. Kids menu is terrific, so you can bring the kids, and doesn't matter what day you pick. They're open 7 days a week. They're open late on the weekends because the games run late. You want to watch some playoff baseball today? I think the first game is at 4 o'clock. Dodgers and the Washington Nationals, and then it's the Cubs and Giants game for tonight. That'll be at 7:30. One team that we're not talking about for the first time in 3 years is the Kansas City Royals. They won the World Series last year. They made it to Game 7 2 years ago. And a guy who is a big Royals fan, Terrence Hill, Redhawks senior linebacker from Kansas City. What was it like to have your team win the World Series? I grew up a Cub fan. I don't know what it's like to have my team win the World Series. What was it like to see the Royals win it all last year?
Well, I'll tell you, it was great because Kansas City has been a great sports fan city, and the Royals were able to bring a championship back. We had over 800,000 people at our parade, and they celebrated. Unfortunately, I wasn't there, but it was good seeing them get the win.
Boy, I tell you what, if you watch the video of that parade celebration, that was unbelievable. I mean, you couldn't see, you could look as far as you could, and there were people everywhere. I mean, that city really got behind the Royals.
Yeah, I mean, they put together a team really just to win the World Series that year. As you can see, they're struggling now. But the Royals did a great job of winning and a big celebration. And Kansas City they're not in the playoffs this year, but they'll be back again.
Boy, 2 World Series appearances in 2 years. And really, we hadn't heard a lot from the Royals over the last several years. Would you say it was Kansas City for you growing up, or when you were in high school, it was more of a Chiefs town than it was a Royals town at that time?
Yes, when I was growing up, definitely. Growing up in Dickford Mill and Trent Green's a quarterback, Priest Holmes, and all those great players. It was definitely a Chiefs town.
All right. Now, you went to Raytown High School. Tell us about what it was like playing at Raytown. You were an all-state guy there. What was it like playing at Raytown? Because since you have left, hard times this year. I think I checked the record out. They're 2-4, getting ready to play Raytown South this week.
Yeah, well, speaking of Raytown South, that's a big rivalry. And hopefully they can pull it off this year. I wasn't able to beat Raytown South, but playing at Raytown, I played many different sports, basketball, football, and just being an athlete there. Is a very diverse school, a really good school. We're pretty good at basketball. Teron Lou played there, head coach for the Cavaliers. Alden Smith played there. Football, he plays for the Oakland Raiders. And just a great group of people, great group of athletes that come through there.
Now, we haven't had a lot of Raytown guys come to Southeast. A few. Jawan Maxwell was a guy that played on the basketball team. He was here, and I believe that he graduated from Raytown in 2006. Are you familiar with Jawan Maxwell?
I'm not familiar with him, but I've seen his All-State jersey in the gym, so that name rings a bell.
He was a really good player here, and what was ironic, when he was here, we had a guy from Raytown South named Roderick Pearson, and he played here as well. He was a point guard. I think he ended up going to Oral Roberts and went to an NCAA tournament there. But we had guys on the same basketball team from Raytown and Raytown South at the same time.
Yeah, I could tell you what. I believe that those two guys, they were teammates, but they weren't much of friends. I'll tell you that.
Is it that big of a rivalry?
It's that type of rivalry.
All right. Well, I guess that's Friday night. That's going to be a big thing. Is it? Or they play on Friday there? Are there some Saturday games? Is it on Friday night?
Well, when I played there, it was always Friday night games.
What was your best high school memory, or maybe a couple of your highlights at Raytown?
Athletic wise, I would say we were playing against Staley High School, and it was a home game. And the quarterback snapped the ball. I'm really good at timing out the blitzes. So
right.
As soon as he snapped the ball, I jumped over the line of scrimmage, sacked him before he could take one step. So that was my favorite play of all time.
So you just leaped over guys at the line of scrimmage.
Yes, exactly.
All right. You came to Southeast, redshirted your first year. They probably, I don't know if they tell a lot of guys when they're coming out of high school, we're thinking that you're a candidate to be redshirted. Guys don't want to hear redshirt. What were your thoughts when they said, hey, redshirt is probably the way to go? And now that you're a fifth-year senior, looking back, do you have a different opinion on redshirting?
No, I believe that any coach that was the head coach of me playing linebacker would have redshirted me because biggest I was coming out of high school was 185, and I came here around 200 pounds. And I don't even believe Coach Took and his staff would have recruited me just because of my size, although I was a great player. But I definitely would have redshirted me, and I felt like I benefit from it in many different ways.
Now, I've heard a lot of guys say, when they get to that senior season, man, I'm so glad I redshirted. But at the time, man, I didn't want to hear the word redshirt. I thought I'd get out there and play.
Definitely, because every collegiate athlete or was a great high school player at the Division I level. So you're coming from your city, you represent your family. You want to come and play right away because people have high expectations for you. And if you fail to meet those expectations, maybe you feel like you let them down a little bit.
Terrence Hill, our guest, Redhawks senior linebacker, fifth-year senior. You were a Southeast Scholar athlete as soon as you got on campus. I know you were an honor roll in high school and commissioner's honor roll for the Ohio Valley Conference. How tough is not only it to maintain a starting position on the football team, but also maintain honor roll status in the classroom? How challenging is that?
It's very challenging. I mean, juggling athletics and academics and the time we have to study, do homework and workouts here and there, it's very tough. You have to manage your time. You have to use your resources. Whatever the times are open at Success Center Library, you have to get in there as soon as you can. And Roper Garrett is also on that list, and we pride ourselves of being the smartest position group because we're both inside linebackers. And our GPAs, we always try to keep a high GPA so we can keep that under our belts.
I mean, you guys are Division I guy. You're competitive. You're even competitive with a GPA.
Yes, sir.
Coach Took probably likes to hear that.
Yes, we have to be competitive and sign off. Right? Use those four cornerstones and sign off at the end of the day.
All right. So what's your major? How close are you to getting your degree?
I will finish up this December. I'm a corporate communications major, and what I would like to get into the marketing field, maybe become a marketing specialist. And I'm really good with interpersonal communication, marketing, different management tools and skills that I've picked up and learned. So I would love to do that one day and make some money for me and my family.
We like to hear that. I wanted to ask you, because there's a lot of focus now in the National Football League on the head trauma, the head injuries, concussions, things of that nature. And you were sidelined in 2014 with a concussion. Tell us a little bit about that, and what was that like? I suffered one in baseball, getting hit in the mouth by a baseball. But everybody's a little different when it comes to a concussion. Tell us about the play that you were injured on, and just exactly what it's like to suffer a concussion and have to really come back from that.
I believe I've had maybe two or three, and concussions are no joke at all. And when you have a concussion, you have to take that serious. Don't take that lightly, because your brain and your heart, you're the only thing that you have. So when you have a concussion, you got to let the trainers know and get put on the sideline, unfortunately. But you have to take care of your head, and what's the severity of your head trauma, sit out for a week or so and try to get back as soon as possible.
The headaches, light sensitivity, nausea, did you go through all that stuff?
I went through every bit of it. I was nauseous. unfortunately vomited a couple times, and it's a serious deal when you go through those type of concussions.
You know, they have really put a lot of good safety protocols in line, especially at the NCAA level. I mean, I know it's something before the season. They run some brain scans where they say, okay, here is where your baseline is, and then after you suffer a concussion, they compare that, and unless you're within specs, they're not going to let you back on the field.
Yeah, that is true, and that test is pretty tricky because you've taken it once, yes, but once you take it again, it's like it's kind of a test where it gets annoying a bit because it's nothing but shapes and trying to get you to memorize these different things, and you might get a little impatient, start clicking on things. But I feel like that's a good idea for them to actually test and see where they are to see the severity of what they've gone through. So I feel like that's a good thing. All
right, now Kansas City has a pretty high status and reputation when it comes for barbecue.
Yes, sir.
We went to Memphis. Memphis, considers themselves to have really good barbecue. Where do you rank Memphis's barbecue compared to Kansas City? Did you have any barbecue in Memphis when we were there?
Yes, we did. We did. The barbecue is pretty good. It's a little different. Kansas City barbecue is most definitely better. You can ask Nate. He's a assistant AD, and I feel like he could back me up on that.
All right. For anybody who's traveled into your hometown, Kansas City, give us a couple of names of places that you can. If you're a barbecue fan and you're headed to KC, you cannot miss going to these places.
This is no specific order from best to worst, but I would say you definitely have to go to Arthur Bryant's, Oklahoma Joe's, try Gates Barbecue, Jack Stack. Those are the four. Those are the four I'll throw out. Yes,
the four pillars of barbecue in Kansas City. All right, well, how about at the bye week? You've gone through. I mean, this is your fifth year. You know what a bye week is all about. Coach Tukes seems to think it's coming at a good time. Some guys banged up, including yourself.
Yes, bye week is definitely good for those reasons you just listed off. Guys can get healthy. The younger guys have a chance to compete and get better as long with the other guys as starters. But bye week, catch up on academics. Like you said, it's time where we have more time to catch up on academics rather than a game week. So we catch up on academics, get healthy, and get better.
How about this linebacking core that you're playing with, man? These guys are good. You got Kendall Donnerson, who is a speed rusher. He is great behind the line of scrimmage, causing havoc. Yourself, Roper Garrett, who's a tackle machine, and then Chad Meredith, a guy who's 6'5" and is running all over the place as well. That's pretty good for linebackers.
Yes, the three guys you named off, other than myself, are great players. They make you want to play better. They make you want to not let them down, do your job, and that's a part of our 10 strong philosophy and concept. And we want to be strong in that area so others around us can be stronger.
Let me ask you this. How much do you take it as a responsibility to be a leader on the team for some of the younger players like a Zach Hall? We're seeing him play more, and all of a sudden he's getting his nose into a lot of plays. He's just a freshman, but he looks like he's got a chance to be pretty good. Well, he's got to have a role model or two on the football team, right?
Definitely. Zach Hall is a really good player. He's a really good young player. He could be a starter, honestly. He's that good. And I try and be in his ear all the time. Anytime he goes out there, we talk, we communicate. He comes off the sideline, let me know what he sees. I let him know what I see just in case either of us are in. He's a great guy, great player. And I think he's going to have a bright future here.
All right. Who's the best smack talker among the linebackers?
Best smack talker would have to be – no, honestly, I can't even say that because none of us really talk smack.
Okay.
We're the
Who's the best defensive smack talker? Maybe the linemen are talking a little more.
I would have to give it to Eric Moore.
Eric Moore. So the defensive backfield.
Yeah.
Eric's got the title.
Yeah, Eric Moore.
All right. Now, you played a little basketball at Raytown. In fact, second team all-conference in hoops in high school. Who are the best ballers on the team?
Out of Southeast Missouri State.
Yeah. Guys that, when you guys headed over to the rec center and say, hey, let's go grab some round ball.
Well, now that Paul McRoberts is no longer here, I would have to give that to
You can throw yourself in there if you want to.
I'm not going to throw myself in there. I would have to give it to Byron Wilson or Eric Moore.
Two good ball. And Eric Moore will let you know about it too, right?
Robert Garrett as well. He's a good basketball player.
Now,
Might not look like it.
Paul was pretty good. Now he played for a little bit before he got hurt. He actually fractured a rib or something in basketball. He got hurt worse in basketball than he did in football. But I think the first game he ever played in, he hit a game-tying three-pointer at the buzzer and then hit a big free throw in overtime and helped win the game. I don't know. Were you at that game?
I was we were all at the game. It was a great sight to see. Paul is a great athlete, and he displayed that night by showing how he played basketball just as well as football.
And a couple of years ago, you guys were all at the Show Me Center when Murray State was there, and Cameron Payne goes to the free throw line. No time left on the clock. Tie game. All he has to do is hit one of the two free throws, and Murray State wins the game. Cameron Payne's not playing for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yes.
You guys were under the basket trying to distract him. He was a freshman, and he missed both free throws. You guys kind of take partial credit for that win over Murray a couple of years ago?
We'll take a little bit of credit.
Right.
Yeah, why not? We'll take a little bit of credit. The basketball team did a great job of winning, but we'll take a little bit of credit for that.
How fun is that, though, when the football team goes to a basketball game?
It's great. It's great. We're a part of SEMO Athletics, a great group of sport teams, and we try our best in supporting one another.
All right. Are you on social media? Could we get you a Twitter follower or two?
Yes, I have. I'm on social media. I have Twitter.
What's your Twitter handle?
It's T9Hill_Will.
T9Hill_Will.
Yes, sir.
WILL.
Yes.
All right. We're going to see if we can get you a Twitter. Todd Benacki's going right now. He's going to go follow Terrence Hill on Twitter right now. Terrence, it has been a pleasure, man. Best of luck in the bye week and coming up with the game at Tennessee Tech. We'll see you on the bus headed to Cookeville next week.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. Terrence Hill, Southeast Missouri State senior linebacker, and we appreciate his time. We wish him certainly the best of luck. The Redhawks have a bye week, and we'll get a chance to catch up with Coach Tuke again next week. So we appreciate Coach Tuke. Thanks to Terrence Hill, Todd Benacki, our engineer, Dean Field here on location. And don't forget, we'll be back again next Tuesday at 12 noon. The Redhawks are off this particular week. But one thing we do want to remind you of is coming up a week from today at the Show Me Center, it is going to be Redhawks Madness. And that is basketball. The men and women's basketball teams are going to be taking part in the event. They're going to open the doors at the Show Me Center a week from tonight at 6:30. And we will feature an inter-squad scrimmage by both teams. They're going to have prize giveaways. A live DJ will be there as well. And admission is free for all the fans. Now, keep this in mind. 2 lucky Southeast students in attendance are going to have the opportunity to participate in a shooting challenge with a chance to win $10,000. They'll also have additional prizes be given away. Southeast students and fans in attendance will all be eligible for the prizes. And speaking of prizes, Coach Tuke has rejoined us. We're giving away T-shirts. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and so we have some T-shirts courtesy of Southeast Health. They are pink in honor of breast cancer. So Coach Tuke is going to draw for the winners here. Who we got? Would you say that's Tammy? Tammy starts with a W, it looks like.
Woodall.
What is that? Is that it? Tammy Woodall of Cape. You got a T-shirt. All right, Coach, you want to dig in and get us a couple more winners here? All right, we've got Sierra Binns. Sierra Binns. All right. Hey, one of the waitresses here at Bill Goshi. Now, Coach, what happened there? Is he even eligible?
You know, I got to try to take care of my man.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Gosh is walking out of here with a pink T-shirt. All right, Coach.
One thing mentioned is trivia night is this Saturday. You know, it's a big deal. I know Joe's going to be a big part of that, and a lot of people come alongside us. But, you know, it's not too late to get a table. It's not too late to show up. It's going to be a great event. A lot of athletes, a lot of coaches, and just be with Redhawk fans.
$300 for a table of 8, so you can split that 8 ways. You can go to GoSoutheast.com/trivia. to be involved, and you have let it be known that you are a trivia master, and you'll be walking around helping people to win on trivia night.
There's a reason I had to go to JUCO. All right, so you don't want me answering any of your trivia questions.
So you are not the ringer that we're looking for on trivia night.
Everybody has strengths, right? Mine is food and fellowship.
Well, there'll be plenty of food and fellowship there.
Exactly. So look for it. Hopefully, you guys show up. We need a big, big following there, because that's one of our signature events. And also just want to thank everybody that's already signed up. And Nate does a great job. He needs a staff of 100, and he don't have anybody. So it's a challenge. And once again, just ask for everybody to show up.
Nate Savarino, you're speaking of, and there is a wing eating contest. Did they ask you to participate? I know you're not participating, but did they even approach you about it?
No. The other issue I have is I can't do spicy food.
Oh, I got you.
So I'm pretty low level dude on this event. I'll probably just be hanging out, just enjoying each other like we all need to.
All right. Doors open at 5 o'clock. That is Saturday night at the Show Me Center. Hopefully it's a big event. Again, if you want to get involved, you can register your team. Just log on, GoSoutheast.com/trivia. We'll see you Saturday night over at the Show Me Center for that, Coach, and then back here next week. Thanks.
Sounds good, Sean.
All right. That's Coach Tom Matukewicz, and that's going to do it. Thanks to Terrence Hill for his time today and joining us, the Kansas City native. We've got Russillo and Cannell on ESPN Radio coming up. We'll talk to you next week from Wings, Etc., the Redhawks Coaches Show on SEMO ESPN.
This is